Hello all, RegiTime here, and we're back with another earlier than scheduled video from my coaching myself at 10NL. And there's a little bit of 16NL in my database now from PokerStars. I've been not struggling with volume, but not getting as much volume as I would like. So in my super downtime, like 2 and 3 in the morning, which is often when I'm ready to play, but Sky's not really looking that great and Party Poker's dying, I've started adding some 16NL Zoom to help me with volume. I'm not going to make any videos at 16NL Zoom. Might sound a bit silly, but my PokerStars screen name is not particularly well known, and I'd prefer it to stay that way when I'm playing there. Sometimes I just like level myself when I think, oh, I just can't watch my videos. If anyone ever says something to me in chat, it just throws me off. So I'd just rather not have a username out there if I don't need to have it out there. So we're going to stick to making the videos on here, and just whatever the 16L is there purely just to like bulk the volume. So yeah, I've made a couple of recent adjustments to getting a really good price here, but that's a really big squeeze from somebody who looks like they might be tight, so we'll let it go. They made a couple of adjustments. Well, not a couple, one really. That I'm going to talk about when we look at like the hands later and take a quick look at my database. But it's basically around playing more suited cards and by default less unsuited cards. We'll talk a little bit more about that later when we've got the graph to like demonstrate why I took that decision. Min-donked and then he's jammed on me. It's just nearly always a show of strength, this. I'm just going to let it go. It's nearly always someone who's like min-donking to trap you into raising and then showing the rest in. It's a pretty strong c-bet into 2 players, but well, strong c-bet in terms of like multi-way pot c-bets, but we've flopped a pair, and we've got positions, so we'll take a turn and see how it goes from there. If he was to blast into us and the turn didn't improve us, then we would clearly slow down. I'm going to bet here just to like deny equity to like anyone who's got a heart. Puke if we get raised, probably have to fold it. Particularly if we get raised by the small blind or the big blind, whichever it was. I'm happy just to take it down now. Hopefully we don't see the hand again until the end. As you can see from the session I played last night, I haven't turned holder manager off overnight. This is how my stats looked after using my new style, and I'm not dead impressed. It needs work. It definitely needs work, and the adjustments that I've made, because 1911 is not where I want to be with like a 3.4% 3-bet. If you can hear any background noise, it's just my, well, I can't call her a kitten anymore because she's nearly 4. It's my cat doing her usual let's go fucking mental when Reggie's making a video. Could raise here, but we're just going to call. Get it all in, we're going to be behind for sure. Oh, at least you think you are. I mean, we could get it in against draws, I guess, where we're ahead, but still going to check, but I'm not going to give him the chance to raise again, even though it does look like he probably just has a 10. If he checks the river, I was going to try and bluff. I think we're just going to fold here with third pair. Disappointing. But we'll just fold. We could be getting bluffed there. So if we had a 10 then I would never fold. But third pair. Yeah, I think we can afford to let that one go. Don't feel good about it, but really not a big fan of paying off. Not a great flop for us with the 9-7 suited. Certainly a better flop for the under the gun, but once he checks back the flop, we're just going to bet twice and hope to take it down. We're almost never good here, but for 10 cents we'll see a river anyway. So as you can see, I'm definitely playing a little bit tighter than I have in previous videos. And again, I'll talk about that briefly at the end when we're looking at the database. We've got like 10,000 hands in there now, which still isn't enough to do any kind of database review. But it will help me back up some of my decisions that I've made. I think I'm possibly playing a little bit too tight right now. I've clumped quite a few hands out of my ranges from the first two seats, and tried to add a few more like calls in on the button, but I don't think I did enough calls in on the button to make up for the hands that got rid of from the early seats. And as you can tell, it's made me like more passive pre-flop too, which I don't necessarily mind too much. But it doesn't look as pleasing in the numbers, but results wise it's been working okay over like a tiny sample size. This guy double barrels a lot, so I'm certainly going to check to him again. We don't know if he empties a clipper. Let's see if it tells us here somewhere. River 100%. So we're going to let him triple barrel here. We're going to raise him on the river. Not on that river though. That is a really irritating river. That is very, very, very irritating. He's just so aggressive. I think we probably have to just call. I expect we probably lost that hand. Right, that's not going to show us because it's got like too many hands in it. But yeah, we did lose it. Damn it. He had the 7-6. So we could have definitely got a lot of chips in on the flop. And then got sucked out one. That's unfortunate that the 7 had to come, because if the 7 doesn't come, we're just stacking him all day on the river with his trips. That is kind of annoying, but whatever. It is what it is. We had a plan, and we stuck with it, and it kind of went a little bit awry, but never mind. shit happens, doesn't it? Hopefully we're going to make some of that money back right now. Let's just hope he has that 10 ball. So again, for you guys who are new to this, thinking, oh shit, what the fuck's happening with these hands? We will go back and look at any hands on the... After the video, when we stop playing, we will go back and review the hands that we didn't get to see the outcome of. We'll also have a quick look at my graphs and all that type of thing. Kind of unfortunate flop with the jacks. Probably still ahead, but we're going to take a street off. Check back. We certainly don't have a 3 street hand right now. And a bit about 80 here. And we're going to bet about 140. And the river is a little bit thin because the backdoor flush has got there, which I don't think he's going to have too often. But with the king pairing, it kind of makes it less likely as a king. But like, what do we get called by? I don't know, but he seems pretty loose. He might just make some weird bad calls. Who knows? Maybe he just folds. We'll find out at the end. Not going to play the 10s versus under the gun and a button 3 bet. Might seem a little bit nitty, but I'm fine with it. Pool is quite small this morning, which is why we're sometimes waiting for hands to come in. No idea what this clown's doing. Probably going to get raised behind, but for 10 cents, what are we going to do? So they're not going to raise that in a multi-way pot. Going to treat the 10 cents just like it's checking around. And then look, he bombs it on the river. He's probably just been fucking around trying to induce a raise. Definitely a bad reg. Well, not sure you can call him a reg when they're 26.5, but just bad, I guess. Because he's so loose, we're just going to fire out a small c-bet, just try and get him to fold all his total air. That might just get there if we check. Once he calls, we're done with it. We might still have the best hand, who knows, but he's probably going to bet and we're certainly going to fold. What the fuck are all these min bets all about? Again, I just treat them like checks. It's a question I get asked a lot, which is, how do you deal with min bets? I treat them like checks, and then I react accordingly. We're raising here because we pick up a good shot, we pick up like an overcard to the flop, and he just min bets again, and now it looks like he's just got something. While we've got this guy here, we're going to give him the light blue tag, and we're going to call and hope to spike the world on the river. And he bets 10 again, which is fucking hilarious. I have absolutely no fucking clue. I mean, we're not going to fall getting 37 to 1. I expect to lose 90 odd % of the time there. And we'll probably have a little bit of fun at the end, seeing what the fuck it was he turned up with. Because I have no clue. Literally no clue. I'm trying to add more suited cards to my early position ranges, but not 5-6 suited. Right, so with a donk and a call on this board. It's a big donk. I'm going to make a really tight four with the 9s. Pretty shit turn. People leading into a small seems to be the way things are going this session. Second time this guy's done this. We're not folding this time. If he's got a 10, we're just going to pay him off. Guess he does have a 10 a decent amount, but I do hate paying 26 5s off, but whatever. Sometimes a lamb slaughters the butcher, as Amarillo Slim used to say, and this might just be that kind of morning. Not the first time I've had excuse me, problems in games that are pretty fishy, is it? Not the first time. Typically happens in these games is you end up losing quite a few like smallish pots, and then you know when things come round your way, when you end up with the best hand and not the second best hand all the time, that you can come roaring back with a vengeance and make quite a lot of chips in quite short order. I'm getting killed death by 1,000 cuts from 1981. Oh, we won that one. Oh dear me. Very big turn barrel with Maniac there. Hopefully we just tucked out on twee bets. Probably just check folding this river on the ace. Not going to try and bluff with my gut shot multi-way. We're just going to hope to hit it. No fish in the blinds, so we'll 3-bet the ace king. Excuse me. This guy looks pretty tight. Not too many good rivers for us. Make a pretty tight fold there. And check raise that king queen, I think. Certainly against somebody who I was going to check raise anyway, but we've got like backdoor spades, backdoor flush, backdoor straight draw. If he doesn't have an ace, he's probably just going to fold. So I guess we're just going to go with it here with the 2 queens. Don't always bet my nut flush draws, but when I have no kicker, I tend to be more inclined to do so. She's calling the queens off. And we lost with the queens. We got stuck to that one, which is kind of annoying. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Bet the turn is give up river here, that's the plan. Oh, well, that river, how can we give up on that river? I don't think we can we? Lots of rivers are given up on, but they just got like better and better for bluffing with, so we'll just go for it. This might end up being like quite an irritating losing session. By like things just, everything going wrong, and we get check jammed on. Fucking no idea how he gets to the river with ace jack. If he does have ace jack, jack 9 makes sense, I guess. Well, it doesn't really, but he shouldn't call the flop, but either way up. What can we do? Yep, it's just going to be one of those pretty annoying sessions where nothing goes right. Have a gut shot. We'll try a race and we'll see what happens. So he limps the button and then smashes the flop. Good for him. Yep. Today is not going to be our day. But having said that, well, the pool was looking really good. I'll have a quick look round in a minute to make sure it's still looking really good. But if the pool is looking really good, we're just going to stick at it. I mean, we're currently buried. Well, not buried, but, you know, we're stuck in a pool which we shouldn't really be stuck in my opinion. But now we've only played 300 hands, so anything can really happen. This guy c-bets way too much. We're just going to try and get him off something. Who knows what, but when you've got an 80% c-bet, you're going to be vulnerable to getting raised quite a lot. Life's going to be quite difficult for you against players who notice that and are actively out looking to exploit you. Just pool shrinking. Is the pool? No, it's not shrinking. 34 in it still. Start with us playing a 5-handed at this table. Maybe it had. But bet with our backdoor flush draw and 2 overs. I'm happy to 3-bet suited junk versus cut off from the button, but versus middle position or earlier, I usually just call with it. Flop a pair, so we'll see a turn. We had a good shot, but yeah, I'm going to call one more because this guy is pretty aggro and we might look to try and make a play on the river. That seems like a good river to try and make a play on. It looks to me like he doesn't have a flush and we can absolutely have one, given how we played the hand, so we'll go for it. Oops. That is my reminder I need to be somewhere relatively soon, so I forgot all about it. That is not a nice size turn barrel to have to call. We think we're going to lose here to who knows what. I can't really value bet. I don't think I can anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to have to get a wriggle, and this video is going to end prematurely because I completely forgot. But I'm doing work in about an hour and a quarter, which I'm glad the reminder went off because it's a bank holiday Monday, and for some reason it hasn't been in my head. It's a shame because I don't particularly want to leave these games, but probably going to have to. Play for a little bit longer. Work isn't too far from home. That's actually my get your ass out of bed alarm, not my get your ass to work alarm. So I am a little bit ahead of schedule on the day, having got up before my alarm, which is always a nice thing to do. We'll probably play for about 5 more minutes, then we'll go ahead and we'll look at some of the hands that we played and briefly talk about what I want to talk about, and then call it a day. Bet this turn pretty big because I want to make a bigger of a value bet against his ace-x and what have you. That's a little bit too weak. And he just jams. Hopefully it's one for the good guys. It was. There's one thing I think some of like the not great regulars do too much, and that's 3-bet. They just like, especially with like steals and things, and it's because they're pretty rubbish post flop basically, and they just end up bloating pots with hands that they just don't know how to play very well post flop. And I think it's a big mistake that tons of guys are making. Like, oh, I have to 3-bet this, his range is X, Y, and Z. I need to 3-bet this part of my range, etc. Which is fine from a pre-flop perspective. But if you can't then maneuver through the spots post-flop that puts you in, then like any edge that you're gaining pre-flop is just getting swallowed up by your post-flop weaknesses. Because without a doubt in these games, pre-flop my edge is at its smallest. I believe my edge is definitely post-flop in these games, which is why I'm not a manic 3-better. It's why I prefer flatting a lot more hands pre-flop and then playing post-flop, because I think I can outplay people way easier post-flop than I can pre-flop. I just think they do it too often. It's like, oh shit, he's stealing, so I'm just going to 3-bet with. And I see people 3-bet with just bad hands that have like almost no playability pre-flop, post-flop. So if we're just giving up here with that good shot, I think, are we? I think we are against someone who might be a fish. Yes, they just play these hands that just have like no playability post flop, but they don't know what to do with them, and they just end up just playing pretty badly and just playing like really kind of weak, tight shit poker post flop. Like when they've got it, they're blasting away, and they're just like fucking stuck. Pretty easy to play against most of the time, and I think they do a lot better taking the foot off the gas and like learning to play better post flop. I think that'd be better for their overall win rates. But they don't do it. They just see your small blind open. I've got fucking ace-9 offsuit. I'm going to 3-bet. Yeah, good for you. And that's great until you get called and then you miss nearly all of the time. And if you don't know how to negotiate your way through those spots without just doing it in like a really shitty, weak type manner, then you're going to have a problem. Really not sure what paid to win we'll be limping with from there, but pretty sure ace-queen's ahead of most of it. Oh, doing okay against most of it. Yeah, so sadly we're going to have to bring the session to a premature close. Shit, I was supposed to be sitting out of all these, wasn't I? That looks like the kind of river I like. I'm going to go for a check raise here with my hopefully hidden straight. Keep missing out all these sit-out things, don't I? He's bet twice into 2 players, so he's just going to let the jacks go. And we get jammed on, which is nice. Hopefully it wasn't a chop, because I'd find that most irritating if it was. Is the last hand going to bail us? Is it going to bail us out? Be pretty sweet if it does. Nah, it didn't. Well, we might be getting bailed out there with the death, but we weren't. And that's all 4 hands. All 4 tables done, so we'll call it a session there from the live play aspect. We're back in just a second with the hand review. So this is a session we just played. It wasn't a total disaster in the end. We clawed a little bit back towards the end. We lost $11.22. And we'll just look at some of the spots that we got into. The big pot we lost here was the blind versus blind against the regular. He had 2 jacks. It's all very boring. And he got there. Sucks to be us. This is a 5-4 where we bluff the river. I mean, that opened way too loose. This guy is probably some kind of regular. And if you look, 10-9 offsuit from the hijack. He's way, way, way too loose. If you're doing this, just stop doing it. I mean, yeah, he's won this hand, and I'm not trying to criticise him. I'm not being a sore loser. He's just way too loose. You see good players just open folding like Jack-9 off from the cut-off. So 10-9 off from middle position should just be a fold. And then especially if these stats are going to be true, where he's like c-betting and double barreling, it's such a high frequency, he's going to be very, very exploitable. But anyways, it is what it is. He did open. He flopped top pair. He barreled his gut shot. Fine with that. And then he checked the river. We went for the over bet. We can have like 10-9 in jail nearly all the time here. When I do this, usually second pair shit kicker is going to be not a good call. But he made it anyway, and whatever. Fair play to him. Pretty sure this guy's going to be a losing player. You're opening that hand, taking that line and calling the overbet on the river when the obvious draw gets there. Well, he doesn't beat anything really at this point. But anyways, good for him. He made the call. He's going to be a losing call long term. But whatever. This is the where we flop trips. We went for the slow play. And again, we just don't run great. He rivers a full house, which is kind of a thought. I mean, you can make a case for folding trips here. I think my reasoning at the time was because he had such a high turn barrel and he had a pretty high one when saw flop, he's going to be emptying the clip quite a lot. But I think, in hindsight, I think this is a not great river call. But how bad can it be? We're getting decent pot odds. We only need to win, what, 28% of the time. I mean, it's not the worst call I've ever made, but I think we can probably make it on this specific run out. But I didn't, whatever. None of us perfect, are we? I'm not sure why I didn't make my isolation raise bigger there. I guess I just can't have noticed a limp. If I'd noticed a limp, I would have made this 50. So I can't have noticed a limp. That's why I 3x'd it. And then he just flops the world. Good for him. And good for him. Not really think there's much you can do about that one. Ah, yeah, this is where we got check raise on the river. Do I like this bluff? I think I do, because he's going to have a lot of like 10x and stuff here. It's just hard for him to like have, like, given he's like check called the flop. He hasn't re-raised pre-flop. He's just check called the flop, check called the turn. I like turning my hand into a bluff here. It just didn't work out. That one was just a clusterfuck with all the min bets, wasn't it? This is one where we get check raised, I believe. And I think the question is, can we just jam this flop? Well, of course we can just jam this flop if we want. Well, not jam it because it's way too big, way too much over, but like 3-bet and get it in. We can make it like 250, 280 here and just get it in. And how terrible can it be? I mean, it just can't be terrible. We've got like a pair, gut shot, flush draw. So yeah, I wouldn't have been, if I made that 250 and called it off there, I wouldn't have been at all annoyed with myself. He checks. I check back, not wanting to face like another check raise. I can get on board with that. Still happy with the line. Yeah, we could have. I think the decision point on this hand was, do we like raise and get it in on the flop, which is clearly can't be terrible, but is it the best line? I don't know. Against someone with these stats, if they were to be true stats, maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. It's not enough for sample size. Against someone more aggressive, then yes, absolutely. Against someone who you think you might get some folds against, again, yes. But, you know, we've been check raised on this board texture. If we're playing against someone who's just going to say, right, let's go here, and we're not going to have any fold equity against even the hand that's like weak as ace 10 or something like that, then I don't like it very much. Let's look at the hand we won. Not the biggest pot we won, 450. Looking go was. Yeah, 2 pairs, total cooler. Flop to flush against someone who had trips, was it? Yeah, river trips. Again, not the most difficult hand to play. We got some good thin value on this one. I think we went bet river, didn't we? 3-bet pre, check back flop, and we bet turn and river. And that's a value bet. Lots of you guys won't be making on the river there. You'll just be taking your showdown, and I don't think you should be. I think we need to be betting that river for value with like jacks, queens, maybe not tens, and certainly not like nines or anything worse than that. But aces, queens, jacks, king X, backdoor flushes, we should be betting all those for value for sure. So yeah, but I know it's a spot where a ton of you guys would just check back. You'd be like, oh, what worse calls? One of the biggest cliches in poker, for one of the biggest reasons why people like dog out of making value bets. One of the biggest cliches in poker that's just massively misused is, I don't think you can call with worse. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. And yeah, that's about it from there. So very quickly, because I do have to go in a moment, time is definitely stacking up against me. I want to talk about why I'm playing more suited cards. This is my graph so far over whatever it is now. 12,000 hands, is it maybe? 11,000. So we're crying. We are pretty much flying. That's in big blinds. In dollars, it's $120. So I'm really, really pleased. I mean, obviously, it's impossible not to be pleased with that. But there's always room for improvement. And when we had this point here, I was grim, and I was like, when I look back through the hands I've been playing, I was like playing a lot of like reasonably big unsuited cards, and I just wasn't finding very many bluff opportunities. I was getting 3-bet quite a lot, or I was 3-betting with them. So a lot of this was like 3-bet pots with like big unsuited cards that just like run badly, or just like opening, facing 3-bets, calling, missing, not really finding many bluff spots, and I was kind of getting annoyed. And offsuit cards, that's a problem with offsuit cards. They don't flop very much backdoor equity, certainly not as much as suited cards do. And it's just hard to find as many ways to be aggressive with them. So I decided to not ditch some of the bigger cards, but so I'd not 3-bet them as much, just call and then look to play post flop a little bit more. And add a few more, like take a few of the like offsuit broadways and like small pairs from my early position. A lot of this was like me opening pocket fours, getting 3-bet, calling, check folding, all that kind of stuff. So I dumped a lot of that, the small pairs from early and middle position. I've dumped some of that, the Broadway cards, like ace 10 off suit, ace jack off suit, maybe sometimes if there's any regulars behind, like king jack, stuff like that. I still have my suited broadways. Now, I mean, I've replaced them with some smaller suited connectors, going down to like 8-9 suited, maybe 8-7 suited at fishy tables. But just because it just gives you way more reasons to stay aggressive and gives you way more playability. And I've been starting to 3-bet some suited stuff more from the blinds and just like call with some of like the higher stuff. So where I used to maybe 3-bet ace 10 off from the blinds, or king jack off from the blind, I'm starting to call with them more now, and maybe 3-bet a few more 6-5 suited. You saw me 3-bet 9-5 suited from the button. Just 3-bet stuff that's going to be like easier to play post flop. It's either going to flop something or it's just going to be easy to get away from. As you can see, we launched quite a recovery with that, and then we just had this session here when nothing much went right for us, where we've kind of tailed off a little bit again with red line. But overall, yeah, I think it's been a nice adjustment to make. Suited cards are just way nicer than off-suited cards. And yeah, that's how I've gone about adjusting that range that we talked about earlier. Pretty happy with that red line, to be fair. We're like stuck, like what is it, like $40 at non-showdown over like 12 over 11,000 hands. That's really good, to be fair. I'm really, really pleased with that. If we just have a quick look at how we're doing by position, because I think they're just starting to take a little bit of shape now. Minus 17, minus 34 from the blinds, I'm fine with. Could do with trimming them both slightly, but there won't be many guys with better win rates than the blinds. If that was like still those win rates over 17,000 hands or 18, 19,000 hands, I'd be pretty chuffed with that. And early on in the challenge, this early position was up at 15%. As I say, I've trimmed some from that. I expect this number to come down further. I expect it to be closer to 11. And I expect that number to go up because of that. But yeah, pretty happy with everything. Again, not raising as much as probably tons of people do from the small blind, but I'm just not that fucked about pre-flop wars, to be honest with you. My one-man saw flop from all positions is really good. Usually at the big blind, people ever see a big drop off in this. They see that drops down to the mid-30s, sometimes even the 20s with some people, and that's where red line just fucking disappears massively. So I'm really happy with all the one-man saw flops, and yeah, just really happy with how it's going. Overall, we're running at 13 bigs 100, nearly 14, but even in terms of EV, we're still doing really good. Again, ridiculous sample size. Not going to get too excited by it all, but yeah, I'm not going to complain with how it's going. It's going really well. I'm enjoying making the videos. Hope you guys are enjoying them and getting something from them. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. Bye bye for now.